When you are listening to these words, it may already be deep into the evening, or it may be one of those rare, quiet mornings before the outside world has fully awakened. Whatever this moment is for you, allow yourself to slow down just a little. Because the energy surrounding Libra right now is not something the mind can fully explain. It is something that can only be heard through inner stillness. Over the past few weeks, you may have noticed a feeling that is hard to name. Not exactly sadness, not exactly exhaustion, but something like a thin layer of mist settling over your thoughts. You are still working, still smiling, still showing up for your responsibilities. Yet somewhere beneath the surface, there is a gentle unsteadiness, as if the familiar scale you rely on has begun to tremble ever so slightly. Libra is deeply sensitive to imbalance, and for that reason, when the universe begins to recalibrate, you are often the first to feel it, not in your mind, but in your body. This is not an easy cycle. Cleansing energy rarely is. At first, it feels heavy, like opening a room that has been closed for too long. Dust rises, light pours in, and for a brief moment, everything looks more chaotic than before. But beneath the surface, a new order is quietly forming. Your body is speaking, not through panic, but through subtle signals. A tiredness that lingers longer than usual, sleep that no longer feels complete, a breath that sometimes feels a little too shallow. These small signals are not here to frighten you. They are reminders that balance does not live only in the mind, but in every cell of your being. Libra is accustomed to creating harmony for others. You listen, you mediate, you stand in the middle so no one else gets hurt. But on this path, the universe is whispering an honest question. While you work so hard to keep the world balanced, who is holding the balance for you? The inner unrest you feel is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of a deeper intelligence awakening. Your intuition is doing its job, gently knocking, asking you to reconsider the relationship between your body and the life you're leading. Perhaps you have ignored some of your own needs. Perhaps you have grown used to saying everything is fine, even when inside it is not. This cycle brings a deeply human invitation. Treat your body like an old friend who has walked beside you for many years. Listen to it, respect it. Do not wait until it has to raise its voice. In this quiet space, there is a rare opportunity to return to your natural rhythm, a place where balance is not forced, but gently cultivated day by day. The image of Libra during this time is like a lake in the early morning. The surface is not perfectly still yet. Small ripples remain, but light is already reaching the bottom. And when that light spreads, it does not expose flaws. It reveals truth. The truth that you do not need to be strong all the time. The truth that caring for yourself is not selfish. The truth that when you choose to rebalance yourself, you are planting something good, not only for your present, but for everyone your life touches. Let this moment move slowly. Allow your emotions the space to breathe. Because within this beginning, within this fragile feeling that once seemed unstable, there is already a gentle light guiding the way. And when you are ready to walk in this new rhythm, what once felt heavy will begin to reveal its deeper meaning. Like a quiet, loving message from the universe to Libra, reminding you that you deserve a harmonious life, one that begins from within. And from that harmony, a very real awareness begins to surface. No longer vague like morning mist, but clear, like the moment you place a hand on your chest and realize your heartbeat is trying to tell you something. There are times in life when the universe does not speak through dramatic events. Instead, it sends messages through ordinary human signs. Waking up one morning with a body that feels heavier than usual, a fatigue that does not fade, even after rest, a fleeting intuition that makes you hesitate before familiar routines. These signs are not here to interrupt your life. They are here to protect it. Libra often has a habit of postponing the act of listening to the body because you believe you can rebalance just a little longer, endure just a little more. But this time, the feeling no longer sits at the edge of awareness. It is present, clear, patient, like a reminder without judgment. Perhaps the image of a hospital corridor briefly appears in your mind. not with fear, but with a strange sense of caution. The scent of disinfectant, white lights overhead, the steady rhythm of footsteps passing by. There is no sense of tragedy here, only neutrality, a space where truth is faced directly, where the body and science meet with mutual respect. This may involve you personally, or it may be connected to someone very close, someone whose name alone causes your heart to soften for a moment. Blood ties carry deep empathy, and sometimes the worry you feel is not entirely your own. The universe is not asking you to panic. It is asking you to be present. Facing something does not mean something bad is about to happen. It means you are mature enough not to turn away from what needs care. In this moment, Libra's courage does not lie in making everything appear fine. It lies in allowing yourself to step into spaces you once avoided. There is a quiet, human beauty in that choice. When you choose to check, to ask, to listen to those who understand the human body. You are telling yourself that this life is precious and worthy of protection. And when you do this, you are not the only one who benefits. Your family feels more at ease. Those who love you breathe more freely. The balance you have always tried to create for the world begins to take shape through this small yet courageous decision. Imagine yourself sitting still, waiting, perhaps in a modest room where time seems to slow down. Within that waiting, there is a necessary pause, a pause where you realize that facing something is not surrender, but the first step toward healing. And when you allow yourself to move through that moment with just enough calm, with the trust that everything carries a deeper reason, you will feel something unmistakably real. An unseen support is present, gentle yet steady, guiding you forward, lighter, clearer, and closer to the peace you truly deserve. And when you are supported in this way, something very natural begins to happen. The mind starts to speak, not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, persistently, like the sound of wind slipping through a doorframe late at night. When everything around you settles, when the lights go out and the world drifts into sleep, Libra often stays awake with their thoughts longer than most. It is both a gift and a challenge, because your mind can see every side of a situation, and for that very reason, it can easily slide into stories that have never actually happened. You probably know this feeling well, lying still, eyes open in the dark, your heart steady, not racing, yet your thoughts refuse to slow down. One idea appears, then quietly pulls another behind it. A small assumption slowly grows into a full narrative, complete with endings that tighten something deep in your chest. Not because you are weak, but because you care. You want to be prepared for every possibility. You want to keep everything under control. But astrology shows that, during this phase, this very habit is exhausting you more than you realize. Libra's fear is rarely loud. It does not scream. It does not cause panic in the middle of the day. It shows up as repeating questions, as thoughts that circle endlessly, with no clear exit. And here is the subtle truth. That fear does not reflect reality. It reflects accumulated fatigue. When the body needs rest, when emotions need release, the mind tries to fill the empty space with predictions. And most of those predictions lean toward the worst. Because the human brain is designed to stay alert, not to trust. The universe wants you to understand something important. Thoughts are not always truth. Feeling uneasy does not mean danger is approaching. Often, it simply means you have been walking too long without stopping to breathe. Your life energy is not being drained by what is happening, but by what has never happened, yet has already been lived again and again inside your mind. And each night like this, you carry the weight of the entire day into sleep, then wake up without ever fully recovering. If you imagine your mind as a scale, right now, one side is loaded with assumptions, while the other side is empty of gentleness toward yourself. Astrology is not asking you to stop thinking. It is simply inviting you to set down a few burdens that do not belong to the present moment. In these quiet moments, try placing a hand on your chest. Feel the breath, moving in and out, steady and real. Right now, as you listen to these words, you are safe. There is no disaster unfolding. There is nothing that needs to be solved in the middle of the night. The truth is, Most of your darkest scenarios will never come to pass, but the energy you have spent worrying about them is very real. And the universe, in its own gentle way, is reminding you that Libra's wisdom does not come from predicting every outcome. It comes from the ability to return to this moment, where you still have breath, where there is still light, where there is still enough strength to keep moving forward. When you begin to recognize this, fear does not disappear all at once, but it does step back. It makes room for something else, something lighter, something softer, as if the darkness is slowly being diluted by a quiet, persistent light that was there all along. And within that quiet light, there is a very real moment waiting for you. Not rushed, not dramatic, the way imagination once painted it. So calm, in fact, that at first it may surprise you. It is the moment when emotion reaches its threshold, when your defenses soften, when you no longer have to hold the balance for the entire world. The tears find their way down on their own. No warning, no clear reason, just the body and the soul exhaling together, as if they have finally been given permission to let go. The space itself may be very simple, a room lit by soft overhead lights, the low, steady voice of someone speaking just enough, a chair where you can sit still. Everything moves slowly, ordinary. So ordinary that, from the outside, no one would think this is an important moment at all. But inside you, something is shifting. The tears do not carry panic. They carry acknowledgement. Acknowledgement that you are tired. Acknowledgement that you have been worrying for far too long. Acknowledgement that there are things you no longer have to carry alone. Libra is used to keeping a calm face, a steady voice, keeping emotions from disturbing others. But here, in this moment, that composure is no longer required. The tears are not here to weaken you. They arrive like warm water, washing away the tension that has accumulated through countless long nights. Each tear that falls loosens another layer of fear, sets aside a question without an answer, at least for now. What matters most is what comes immediately after. When you take a deep breath and realize your chest feels lighter, when your heartbeat settles into a steady rhythm, when your mind, once spinning without rest, suddenly finds a rare pocket of quiet. This is not a tragic moment. This is a moment of understanding. Understanding that the truth, even if not yet fully clear, is far less frightening than what you once imagined. Understanding that facing something does not cause you to collapse, but helps you stand more firmly. In that instant, a very subtle shift takes place, from panic to acceptance, from resistance to listening, from fear to a form of peace that feels new, unfamiliar, yet undeniably real. And when you wipe away the last of the tears, you may be surprised to realize that you have lost nothing at all. Instead, you have recovered a vital part of yourself, the part that still believes in life, the part that knows that even in the coldest spaces, there is room for warmth, for light, and for a gentler beginning, quietly already opening. And right at the moment when that new beginning quietly opens, before you even have time to name what you are feeling, a very special presence enters the space. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a real human being with a voice deep enough to make you pause, slow enough for every word to land, and warm enough for your body to soften on its own. Some people come into our lives not to impress us, but to make us feel safe. And when they speak, you do not need to strain to understand, because a deeper part of you has already recognized them. This person may be wearing the familiar clothing of a medical setting, or they may simply carry the calm of someone who has witnessed far more stories of life and death than you would ever guess. In their eyes, there is no urgency, no judgment, only a complete, undivided attention, as if in that moment, you are the most important thing they are meant to hear. Libra is deeply sensitive to human energy, and you feel this almost immediately. A sense that you do not need to defend yourself. You do not need to pretend you are fine. You do not need to prove anything at all. When the first words are spoken, they may not carry instant miracles. There are no unrealistic promises, no hollow comfort. Yet each sentence, each rhythm, each small pause between words feels like a steady hand resting on your shoulder. Your breathing slows without you noticing. Your shoulders drop. Your jaw unclenches. Some moments of healing do not come from what is said, but from how it is offered. What this person brings you is not just information, it is clarity. A clarity that is not cold, not harsh, but deeply human and respectful. Clarity that helps you see where you truly stand. Clarity that frees you from guessing in the dark. Clarity that finally allows the Libra mind, so accustomed to spinning through countless possibilities, to rest. When uncertainty dissolves, you realize something quietly profound. Most of the fear you carried was not born from reality, but from having to fill in the gaps on your own for far too long. You may nod softly. You may fall silent for a few seconds. But inside, a new order is taking shape. The road ahead no longer looks like a blurred mass. It begins to reveal itself as small, walkable steps. No one asks you to be strong immediately. No one pressures you to decide everything at once. You only need enough clarity to understand that you are no longer alone inside the maze of your thoughts. What makes this moment special is the feeling of placing trust in the right place. Libra often trusts people, yet quietly doubts themselves. And when someone looks at you with genuine respect, speaks to you with sincere honesty, you remember something old and deeply important, that you deserve care, that your health is not something to postpone indefinitely, that peace is not meant to be purchased with silence and endurance. In that space, time seems to slow by just one beat. You hear your own breathing more clearly. You hear the thoughts that were once loud, now drifting further away. A different kind of calm begins to form, not because every question has an answer, but because you know you are moving in the right direction. And when you stand up, whether literally or within yourself, your steps feel lighter than before, not because the burden is gone, but because you are no longer carrying it alone. From that clarity, something even deeper begins to spread. You start to look at the connections around you with new eyes. Family, bloodlines, old stories once left unfinished. Some things do not belong only to the present moment. They have been quietly flowing through generations, waiting until now to choose you as the one who listens. And when you open yourself to that message, the space around you seems to grow wider, brighter, as if a door long closed has finally been opened, allowing natural light to pour in, gently and without resistance. And within that light, things that once felt distant begin to move closer. Not loudly, not suddenly. They arrive quietly, like memories returning on a calm afternoon. You may sense it as a feeling that is hard to name, as if the body remembers something before the mind can fully understand it. A soft sigh escapes your chest without intention, a subtle heaviness in the heart when thoughts drift to family, to familiar faces, to stories once started, then left unfinished. There are things in every family that are never fully spoken aloud, not because love is missing, but because silence was believed to be the safest form of protection. One generation holds it in. The next senses something incomplete but does not know where to begin asking. And over time, those fragments settle into the body. They show up in natural reactions, in unexplained fatigue, in quiet anxiety, in a heightened sensitivity to even the smallest changes. Libra has always been perceptive. You feel what is left unsaid. You notice the empty spaces between family stories. Perhaps you have wondered, more than once, why you react so strongly to situations that seem ordinary to others, why your body feels so sensitive, why certain worries appear without any clear cause in the present moment. The universe whispers that the answer does not live entirely in today. It exists in a longer current, a deeper one, where bloodlines and memory are woven together. As light begins to reach those hidden corners, a story may finally be told. It could emerge during a conversation that feels completely ordinary. It could come from an elder in your family at a moment no one planned for. Or it could be a small piece of information you stumble upon by chance, yet it reaches far deeper than expected, not to hurt you, but to help you understand that your body has never betrayed you. It has simply been carrying a longer memory than you realized. That moment of understanding does not arrive like a shock. It comes like a gentle wave. You may sit quietly afterward, feeling both sadness and relief. Sadness for what remained hidden for so long. Relief because a silent question inside you has finally found an answer. When truth is named, it no longer haunts the subconscious. It becomes information. And information, when faced directly, always carries the power to heal. What matters most is what you choose to do with that truth. Not blame, not resentment, but connection. Connection with those who came before you through compassion. Connection with yourself through kindness. When you understand that certain reactions are not signs of weakness, but signs of a long story your body has been carrying, you stop turning against yourself. And in that moment, an invisible weight is set down. There is a quiet beauty in this process, because when you choose to look at the truth, you are not doing it only for yourself. You are doing it for those who never had the chance to understand their own bodies, for those who learned to live with silence, for the generations that follow, so they do not inherit questions without names. Healing does not stop with you. It spreads outward, slowly, steadily, like morning light stretching across the ground. And then you realize something deeply reassuring. Understanding does not make you weaker, it makes you steadier. When your body responds, it is no longer frightening. It becomes a language you are beginning to understand. Within your family's current, you are not only an inheritor, you are also a transformer, the one awake enough to pause, to listen, and to change how the story continues. In that wider, brighter space, you stand a little taller. You breathe a little deeper, as if an invisible knot has been loosened, allowing energy to move freely again. And as that connection settles in, a gentle calm spreads through your body. Not an answer to everything, but a quiet trust that you are moving in the right direction. That what was once hidden, when placed in the light of understanding, no longer causes harm. Instead, it becomes the foundation for a new balance. Deeper, truer, and lasting. And from that renewed foundation, a current begins to move through your life. Familiar, yet strangely new. Not loud, not forceful. It slips in quietly, in the most natural way, as if it has always been there, simply waiting for you to be ready to notice it. That current is water. Not as a distant symbol, but as a lived experience. A sudden rain that slows your steps. A shower that lasts a little longer than usual, water flowing over your shoulders as your eyes close without thinking. Standing by a still lake, or simply hearing the soft sound of water somewhere in the quiet. Libra has a deep relationship with balance, and water is the only element that teaches it without words. Water does not resist. Water does not argue. It finds its way through every opening, every hidden space, carrying a patience no rigid force can match. When you are near water during this time, you may feel something inside you soften. Your breath deepens. Your shoulders release. Your thoughts lose their urgency. Not because every problem has been solved, but because you are in a space that allows emotions to move instead of being held tightly inside. There may be a moment that feels very personal, impossible to predict. An afternoon when you stand in the rain and do not rush for cover. An early morning watching droplets slide down a window, your heart growing quiet along with them. Or a time when you sink into warm water, letting the outside world dissolve for a while. In those moments, clarity does not arrive as a complete answer. It arrives as a feeling. The feeling that you do not need to hurry. The feeling that everything is unfolding in its own rhythm. The feeling that you are allowed to recover in the gentlest way possible. In the weeks ahead, from several weeks to a little over a month, water becomes a quiet companion for you. It asks nothing special of you, only your presence, only that you pause long enough to feel. And when you do, emotions that were once tightly compressed begin to loosen, not to overwhelm you, but to leave when the time is right. You begin to notice that unnecessary worries are falling away, not through effort, but through acceptance. There is something deeply beautiful in this process. Water does not erase memory, but it softens the sharp edges of it. Experiences that once felt tense to revisit now feel gentler, easier to hold. You begin to understand that recovery is not about returning to who you once were, but about allowing yourself to become someone new. lighter, more flexible, more honest with your own emotions. And in this quiet rebirth, a new trust begins to grow. Trust that your body knows how to recalibrate when it is listened to. Trust that your emotions are not a burden, but a guiding current. Trust that peace is not a flawless stillness, but the ability to let waves come and go without being pulled under. When water has done its work, when softness has settled into every breath, you find yourself standing more firmly. Not on hard, dry ground, but on a flexible kind of stability. A place where you know that even as circumstances change, you can always find your rhythm again. Naturally, humanly, and unmistakably Libra. And from that flexible sense of stability, you begin to realize that you are no longer standing in the same place you once were. Not because the world has completely changed, but because the way you exist within it has shifted. There is a feeling that is hard to put into words, like stepping outside after a long stretch of rain. The air still damp, the ground still soft beneath your feet, but the sky has opened. You take a deep breath and notice the old weight is no longer sitting in your chest. The things that once pulled you into tension now fall back into their proper place. Present, but no longer overpowering. The balance you have regained is not a perfect state without movement. It is a very human understanding that movement itself is part of being alive, and you are no longer afraid of it. Your body responds to being heard with gentler signals. Your spirit responds to care with clarity. Even your family, the relationships closest to you, begin to reflect this change in quiet, natural ways. Conversations feel more honest. Silences no longer feel heavy. Your presence carries a sense of calm that others can feel, even if they cannot explain it. This period has taken nothing precious from you. On the contrary, it has returned what was once lost in the rush of responsibility and constant concern. Health is no longer something you postpone. It becomes the foundation beneath every choice. Family is no longer only something you carry. It becomes a place where you allow yourself to lean. Your inner world no longer protects itself through control, but is nourished through trust. Everything begins to rearrange itself, slowly, without display, yet solid enough for you to feel secure. Perhaps one morning, you wake up and notice you're no longer rushing. Not because your life has fewer demands, but because you know what truly matters. You see things more clearly now, not through the lens of fear, but through understanding that has been shaped by experience. You are stronger, not because you are no longer fragile, but because you no longer deny your fragility. This is Libra's quiet strength, a strength that comes from learning how to be at peace with yourself before seeking harmony with the world. And as you continue forward, step by step, a genuine lightness walks with you. Lightness from no longer needing to prove anything. Lightness from knowing how to stand at the center of the scale, where things can move without knocking you off balance. About 45 days is not a timeline meant for anxious waiting. It is a journey long enough for you to feel transformation unfolding day by day. When you look back, you will realize you have traveled farther than you thought. Not through hurried leaps, but through gentle patience with yourself. And here, there is no dramatic music, no grand ending, only a quiet, bright, honest sense of peace, a silent understanding that you are exactly where you need to be. That the balance you searched for was never about holding everything still, but about allowing movement without losing yourself. And as you carry that clarity into the days ahead, life responds with exactly what you have learned to offer it: full presence, calm, and a soft strength that lasts. True to the essence of Libra.